Space Action Podcast! With your hosts, Chris Carson and DC and Shama.
Welcome to Space Action Podcast, the official podcast of Space Action Heroes, a webcomic you can find at spaceactionheroes.com. I am Chris Carson.
I'm Deniso and Shama.
Hello.
Aloha. Aloha?
Aloha? I mean, you could use it for the end of the podcast, too, eh? Eh?
It's economic.
It works. Anyway, this is off to a lackluster start. I think that's it. That's a good term.
I think that was the original name of Waihu Island. They were just like, it works.
It works.
And they're like, we can do better than that.
Isn't it under lava now?
Is it another one?
Oh no, I don't know. I don't know Hawaii well enough to know what actually got hit with the Big Island volcano.
I don't know.
Yeah, it was.
I don't know.
I think half of Hawaii is just gone, and we stopped talking about it.
Oh.
So yeah, there. Well, fuck them.
The mass public was like, listen, we can't concentrate on Australian fires and Hawaiian volcanoes.
It's not like we
at
have
the
some
same
sort of
time.
We don't have some sort of 24-hour news network set up to cover this kind of thing. We can't do it. Anyways, this week we're taking a look back because it's 2020. 2020 has begun, and we're going to take a look back at the tragic year that was 2019. As evidenced by...
Film-wise.
We were going to do an Oscars podcast, and I'm kind of glad we didn't because it would have opened with me being like, the Oscars are fucking stupid.
Yep.
So if you've ever seen the show Party Down, in the very first episode, they do neighborhood awards for best decorations, best, Christmas decorations, best yard. It's just that, but with high-profile people. It's the saddest fucking thing. But instead, we're going to talk about...
Just everyone kind of just patting themselves on the back. Like, realistically, it's a bunch of rich people being like, here's a rich thing for you to have. To identify yourself as a rich person.
Yeah, and originally it was made by a guild in order to be able to profile an artist to sell more tickets to their next movie. Mm-hmm. Or a director or a filmmaker or whatever, to get them in the public eye so that the next movie that comes around that has A in the minute is guaranteed a larger box office than it would have prior. It was always
sounds like a great opportunity for someone who could use that. Like, I know minorities or women, but
no.
That's cool.
No.
That's cool.
No.
Whatever. It is what it is now. Oh, Leo's nominated again. Good. He needs another one.
I don't think he's ever won one. Isn't that his whole thing?
Dude, fucking Revenant. Remember, it was
he won for...
right?
He never won an Oscar, and then he won for the one where he rolled around screaming.
I think it was after Wolf of Wall Street he lost.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like what they did with Denzel.
Thing,
it was the makeup one 100%. Dude, I can't stand that movie.
No, and if you... No, neither can I. It's so fucking horrible.
And I fucking like the director. I liked Birdman.
Yeah.
Alejandro.
And the original story, when you find out that he forgave him...
So much better.
So much better.
It's so... Oh,
Anyways, but if you have any doubt, just look at the Best Picture winners for the past 50 years, and they're all forgettable. 90% of them are forgettable, horrible, shitty movies, and every once in a while one that does... Like, Chicago won over Moulin Rouge. What kind of award ceremony is this?
I'm ashamed to say, as a black man, I still have not seen Moonlight, so...
I have not seen Moonlight either.
Yeah, but apparently that one's really good.
Yeah?
Yeah, I can see that.
It's got the whole thing though, the Oscar bait, where it's not white, not straight, impoverished, right? Isn't that the whole thing about Moonlight? It's about two gay guys?
Yes.
Yeah, so that is just like, and no matter how good the movie is, it's been sullied by how Oscar baity it is. You know what I mean?
True. That is true, man. It might as well be about like a fucking AIDS-ridden Holocaust survivor.
Right.
Yeah.
It's starring Jared Leto. You know?
Because he looks like both.
Because he looks like both. Or Morbius, the living vampire, apparently.
What the fuck? So is that in the MC or not? What are we doing here? Like, shit or get off the pot?
Here's the thing. It confuses me. Because we will get to 2019 movies. I have three specifically.
This is about 2019.
But this is
trailer.
2019. This is a trailer.
This came out 3 weeks ago. It was in 2020.
Their negotiations. That's why Sony came back to the table, because they realized they couldn't use all these new characters that Marvel had invented to put into Spider-Man: Far From Home. They can't. So legally, Sony can use the character of the Vulture. They can cast whoever they want, but Vulture cannot reference the events or characters
I see.
From Far From Home. So that would have to be a new negotiation that maybe they've had. I mean, this is all behind closed doors. in order to get him to reference the proper MCU. Legally, he can't.
Okay.
So he can show up and be like, I'm Adrian Toomes, but I never cleaned up after Tony Stark. Who's Tony Stark?
I mean, if he's just making an appearance, because all they're trying to do is string together threads, right?
Right.
Like, Sony's just going for brand recognition.
So they'll just not mention his history.
They don't have to. People are like, oh, no, that's him. He's been in the last Spider-Man movie.
Yeah. But I wonder how Marvel's feeling about this. Like, fuck you. Stop trying to play in our playground. Like, stop trying to, like, hook your horse to our fucking billion-dollar wagon.
To me, it just kind of, when I watched that trailer, it felt like they were just grabbing at straws. Like, you see the thing about the Spider-Man graffiti?
Oh, yeah, but it's the
Raimi suit. Screenshot from the PS4 game. And it says murderer on it, referencing the events of Far From Home.
Yeah.
So I'm like, dude, what are you trying to fucking say here?
But, yeah, I know.
Is it just a big fuck you? Because there's no way that's an accident.
It feels like a fuck you.
Someone has to print out that screenshot from that video game and put it on the set.
Right. And reference the prior film. You should watch some interviews where they co-interview Kevin Feige and then the head of Sony, Amy Pascal. Because he's constantly, like, reserved about his ideas, and then she's always going like, they could be in the same universe. We're gonna say they're the same. We don't know. And then if you just look at Kevin Feige, he's like just clenching his jaw, like, shut
the fuck up.
Yeah,
I have to make another Endgame.
Yeah,
shut up.
Shut the fuck up.
You're tainting the water.
Yeah, you're just pissing in the water, Amy Pascal. So 2019, there's 3 films I watched recently. I'm just going to touch on those. There was a lot of movies that came out in 2019. We've talked about most of them because we've been doing this podcast for the whole damn year. But 3 we haven't talked about that I want to quickly touch on are...
Carson's top 3.
These are not in any way...
his favorite films
my top 3.
Well, actually,
one of them is, and I'll start with that, Jojo Rabbit.
It
was fucking brilliant.
Okay.
It was beautiful and brilliant, and I'm a huge fan of his. I love Hunt for the Wilder People. What We Do in the Shadows. I haven't seen Shark versus Octopus, I think.
Yeah, okay.
I haven't seen that one. And Boy. I haven't seen Boy. But I love Taika Waititi. Thor Ragnarok, I think, is potentially, next to Guardians 2, one of the best Marvel movies ever made.
Yeah, hands down.
And it was brilliant. It was fucking... It did slingshot you around from being like, this is so cutesy, it might be too cutesy, and then suddenly... Oh, right, Nazis, Holocaust, World War II.
Right.
Holy shit.
It's kind of one of those ones where I saw the trailer and I'm like, you don't set something in Nazi Germany unless you're gonna use it.
Right,
you know?
And they do. And it's all, like, is an exploration of why we hate. You know, like, even it says in the trailer, like, you're not a Nazi, Jojo, you're a 10-year-old kid who likes to put on funny costumes and be part of a team.
Sure.
And it's like, that's most of them.
Yeah.
And, like...
and also very contemporary.
Yeah, and then they like, what's his name? The Rockwell?
Sam Rockwell. Yeah.
I had it the first time, and then I fucking undermined myself.
It's because he's such a chameleon, you couldn't remember his name.
Oh, he's clear, but he's doing like a Colonel Klink type accent through the whole movie, which is pretty funny. But they even humanize him a bit, where it's like, oh, he's just a guy. He was just in the military, and then Hitler happened.
Right.
So he's not a good guy. He's just riding this out. He's just not fighting against it, but he's not like actively fighting for it either.
Right.
And so they kind of can humanize people a little like that in the story. But overall, it was just really fucking enjoyable. It ended and I was really sad.
Really?
I watched it again immediately afterwards.
Didn't Scarlett get a nomination for that?
I don't know if she got a nomination because as we topped off this podcast with bitching about the Oscars, I don't really pay attention. But I don't really like Scarlett Johansson as an actor. I don't think... It's sort of like Kylo Ren there. I don't think he's a great actor either.
I think they kind of do... I'm trying to think of someone else who's of that ilk, who kind of... Because I see what you're saying. They don't really vary in terms of tone range.
And I'm not sure how
types.
great the one thing they do is. I hear Marriage Story is great, but I avoided it specifically because it's Adam Driver. And... Yeah. So
man, that might be like the epicenter, though, to see them like underact each other.
Right. But everyone says they're great in it.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that could be like a what do you call it? What happens when an unstoppable object uses an immovable force in terms of acting.
It's good. Yeah, it's good. I hear it's really good, and I kind of do want to sit down and watch it eventually, but I've been turned off by it because I'm like, I hate both those people acting, but Scarlett Johansson is brilliant in it. She really nails it. As this sort of like... I
like her, man.
Yeah, like, I like her as a person and as an actor, but not as an actor, I should say. Because she's, like, anytime she tried, like, Ghost in the Machine or, Lucy, all that shit. She's just horrible.
I liked her in Ghost World. And
when she was young, she was really good.
And like what's it called, Lost in Translation too.
Oh yeah.
It's
Lost in Translation, but then again though, she's like muttering out really subdued 3 lines of dialogue for almost the whole damn movie.
Sure, yeah.
And then Anna Faris was playing...
Dude, she's great in fucking... What's that flick? That one Marvel one. The first Captain one. Winter Soldier.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Because, like, she had a weird role to play. They actually gave her a character in that one where she's got to be Steve's buddy.
Yeah.
And I kind of like, for the first time ever, they gave her a little bit more depth. Like, she was just kind of like his co-worker, his best friend at work.
Trying to hook him up with someone from accounting or whatever.
I thought that was kind of the first time you actually saw her, like, oh, she can be kind of, like, subdued, charismatic and shit, you know?
But she's really great in JoJo. And I'm not going to say anything because you haven't seen it, so I don't want to spoil anything. But all 3 you haven't seen, but one of them I'm going to super spoil.
Do it.
Huge recommendation from JoJo. I think that might be the best movie of the year for me.
God damn.
I think it might be.
What I love about that boy is, he swings for the fences. He's like, I'm going to do a MCU buddy movie. I'm going to do a docudrama about some vampires.
That's parodying the documentary about like an AIDS epidemic in Auckland or something. It was a direct parody to a New Zealand documentary that I think was about gay people.
Oh gosh, yeah.
I have to double check it, but I think that's what it was.
Because there's always, I find, some meta commentary to everything he does.
Oh yeah, and him playing Hitler is amazing. But I'm surprised more idiots didn't get outraged because he's a Maori, isn't he?
Yeah.
So he's playing a white dude.
But I think he gets the pass because he plays
because it's Hitler.
He's Jewish.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. I think
so. I guess not by blood.
If your mom's, I think he's got that thing where his mom's
by
Jewish,
blood Jewish, not converted.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, like a Mandalorian. He's like a Mandalorian.
Well, he directed The Mandalorian. He aided The Mandalorian.
That was we haven't talked about the last few episodes of The Mandalorian. That was my favorite scene, I think, in all of Star Wars, was the 2 stormtroopers trying to shoot the can.
So good. I loved it.
I don't know, I just scooped it up. I didn't get a good look at it.
I was just waiting, like, you guys, because they're about to die a violent death. That's all I knew was like, that assassin droid is coming to rip their goddamn heads off.
He's on his way. It's a ticking clock. I think he's rattling the gun. And they just can't hit it. It was so good.
And then the cocky dude pulls out the other gun.
Yeah.
And he can't. That's where I lost it, because he expected the other dude to do it, and they both couldn't fucking do it.
They badly miss it too. Like, it's not even in any way close.
So where does he? Okay. Let's take a brief segue.
Okay.
Where do you stand at the end of the series? Overall, like, are you in for season 2, or you're like?
Yeah, because I mean, episode 1 or season 1s are always just throwing spaghetti at a wall and seeing what sticks.
Yeah.
Because there are some episodes that I think are really great, and some episodes that I think are brutally horrible.
Sure.
I hope the brutally horrible ones aren't molded in season 2.
Yeah, there's probably. I'm wondering if they'll structure it the same way, where it's kind of like a
standalone.
It's like a bookended season where it's just like you have these weird filler episodes in the middle, but the beginning and the end kind of line up.
I hope so. And 8's a good number.
Yeah,
8 half-hour episodes. It doesn't feel too long or too short.
Now that they know they're getting a season 2, maybe they'll okay, we have plans to do just one solid. I would love to see some augmenting action, like Breaking Bad style, where just shit gets worse and worse.
Yeah.
That's such a delicate situation. He's walking around with this crazy bounty of a crazy baby who has magic powers.
Yeah.
And it's
maybe Yoda, or maybe a clone, or maybe
might be a clone of Yoda.
Might be a Quill.
Right.
I just hope that the girl, Gina, whoever.
Yeah.
I hope she doesn't come back. She's such a bad actor. Like, she makes Scarlett Johansson look like the greatest actor in the world.
Well, okay, and this is where I think we both disagree. It's Walker, Texas,
the Texas Ranger of it all.
Space Ranger, man.
Yeah.
Like Buzz fucking Lightyear.
For a main character, though?
Yes. That episode with the fucking bounty hunter guy on Tatooine, whenever they're on the
Oh my god, that guy was so fucking irritating.
It was like pulling nails off with pliers.
Oh yeah.
But immediately as I was watching, I'm like, it's Star Wars. two fighters against a Star Destroyer? Like, there's some terrible acting in Star Wars.
I'm totally okay with that when it's 1 or 2 lines, but when it's like a pivotal character, then you get into the Hayden Christensen of it all.
Sure, but like, I don't know, that dude is not really a pivotal character. He's just one
for that episode
on the way to the overall story.
The story, yeah.
So what I found is, I honestly, as much as I resented the acting in that episode specifically, I was like, this is pitch perfect for classic Star Wars. It was almost like Favreau being like, I'm not gonna go for obvious fucking references. I'm gonna go for such subtlety it'll tonally feel like you're watching a Star Wars Western.
Well, that's the thing, yeah, because I don't remember who was saying this, but it's like the original Star Wars were sort of aping Yojimbo and Seven Samurai.
No one speaks like that.
Right. And so it was like sci-fi opera based on something. Star Wars ever since has just been Star Wars based on Star Wars.
Yes.
This is the first time they're like, no, this is based on the old spaghetti western. So it's the first time Star Wars has been based on another genre since Star Wars.
Right, yeah.
So it's like, oh, this is what they should be doing.
Exactly.
That's really awesome.
And I'm feeling like a little teaser for later, but I think that's exactly what went wrong with this sequel trilogy. Yeah. Is that you can't mix real acting with Star Wars. Yeah. You can't have Daisy really tearing up and trying to give a genuine, beautiful performance in this goofy
Silly space opera.
It doesn't work, and that's what eventually you get like the unsatisfactory end product. Everyone's just kind of like, oh, I guess that's what happens.
This feels manufactured.
When we try to mix drama with fucking this bullshit. Anyways, your other movies, sir.
As an aside, I want to quickly say I also watched the first season of The Witcher.
Oh, how's that?
It's very much... Okay, I think we would have the exact same opinions flipped about The Mandalorian, about The Witcher. Because it is silly as shit. It is like ABC Walker, Texas Ranger quality at times. But I'm so familiar with the world and the lore, I'm like, this is great.
Right.
I'm really enjoying watching the short stories I read play out over every... Because the first season is just all the short stories. For those of you who don't know, The Witcher started as a series of short stories and then became novels later. So season 1 is just all the short stories.
Oh, that's cool.
So every episode's its own little standalone beginning, middle, and end. And they're really silly and stupid, but really fun. I don't really buy Henry Cavill as Geralt of Rivia. I think he's not a good actor either. This podcast should be called the Shitty Actors Podcast.
How dare you, man. He's been Superman. Name another bad Superman actor. Superman actors are always top caliber. Look at all the work they all do.
Always the top. But he does this Geralt voice where it's sort of like, oh, you just played the video game. You didn't really bring something original to it. You're just sort of doing the video game Geralt.
Or someone just played him a fucking walkthrough on fucking YouTube.
Well, apparently that's the problem, is that he's a big enough celebrity that he can get away with doing what he did, which he said he's a huge gamer. So between takes and stuff, he doesn't go out and party, and he just plays video games. So he loved The Witcher 3. He was obsessed with it. He played it through multiple times, and as soon as he heard there was a show, he got his agent on the phone and said, you need to hound these guys until I get the role. And then he's Henry fucking Cavill. Of course they're going to give it to him to bring a profile to this weird...
He's speaking out of school, because he might fly through this window right now.
Your goddamn neck. That's him. That's from one of his Witcher interviews that I watched. Yeah. But it's enjoy. If you like the material, I think you'll really like it. If you're... what are they called? Incels? The involuntarily celibate? These monsters that apparently that everyone who doesn't like things is being labeled as these days.
Yes.
If you're one of those guys, you probably hate it because they made... Oh, Yennefer of Vengerberg is now an Indian woman, and like, Frangilla is a black woman.
I see. Like, but it never says in the book explicitly what race they are. They're never like, and they're all white.
I don't think it does specifically say, but also it's fantasy.
Yeah, exactly.
If this was real history, I'd be like, hey, wait, there's no way like an Indian woman would have any power in the 16th century France.
Sure.
But this is a fucking fantasy world. Yeah. It's like it's wizards and dragons and shit.
How I felt whenever they're like, they did that Harry Potter play and they cast a black woman.
It's Hermione,
like,
right?
Whoa! I'm like, it said she had curly hair and she was real smart. So fuck
that's
you.
That's it. Yeah, Dumbledore loves cock. How do you feel about that, assholes?
Wizards shit their pants and magic it away. Okay,
right into Dumbledore's mouth. He's into the Scheisse porn. That's stumbled.
He has just like a poosive next to the pensive. Okay, too far?
No,
not far enough?
No, not far enough. You gotta go way farther.
Just shoots up like a reverse toilet. Oh. Okay, I'm done. I'm sorry.
I'll quickly prattle on about these next two so we can get into the meat of this podcast, which I have no idea what we're going to call this episode. Just 2019 and then some. Knives Out, which all I will say quickly is that
Rian Johnson's Knives Out.
Last Jedi.
Rian Johnson's Knives Out.
I grew up in a family of whodunits and murder mysteries. My mother was obsessed with them, so I am as familiar with that genre as a lot of people in modern day are familiar with Star Wars. If you've never have seen a whodunit or are just vaguely a fan, it's probably a really fun movie that twists your expectations. But if you know like the genre through and through, almost academically, it's so weak. It's so sophomoric the way he did just Last Jedi it Knives Out is to whodunits as Last Jedi was to Star Wars.
I know very little about whodunits. I once went to a dinner theater in a murder mystery theater where they acted out.
I've always wanted to do one of those.
Yeah, it's spooky as shit.
Yeah.
Man. You're 7 years old.
Oh, yeah.
And also you hear a gunshot and the lights come back on. There's a dead
There's a
woman
dead
on the
person
floor.
laying there.
Yeah, it was fucking nuts. But if I'm somewhat familiar with said genre and I'm watching it and I have zero idea who Rian Johnson is or fucking anything like that,
you might think, oh, that's a neat twist.
right?
But if you don't like know it well enough to really analyze the twist, then it's. I think the comparison I used earlier was that if you just had a passing interest in Star Wars and watched Last Jedi, and it gets to the scene where they're like, Empire, Rebels, they're all supplied by these billionaires on this casino planet. You might go, oh, that's a neat social commentary in a sci-fi show about contemporary politics.
I mean, when you're wondering why everyone next to you is going like a little on the nose.
Yeah, it's not really what Star Wars is about.
Yeah.
More for Star Trek, and you don't really get it. I think it's something similar to that. Like, I think you might love... Everyone
So
loves
what you're trying
Out.
to say is that there's a part where the lights all go out and there's a dead woman on the floor.
Well, no, it's...
And then she gets up and she's like, I just tripped. Oh, whoopsie deal.
Kinda. That's not the farthest off. You'll see for yourself, but...
I'm literally picturing like Jamie Lee Curtis just sitting like rubbing her and he whoops a doodle.
No, it's not that at all, but it's the same level of expectations subverted.
Okay.
It's the same level of like, oh. But yeah, and the last one I'm going to spoil the shit out of is Dr. Sleep.
Ah, the sequel to The Shining. Which,
holy shit.
Right off the bat, I'm like, if you want to make a movie about the sequel to The Shining, go nuts. But don't fuck with... Just make an alternate Overlook Hotel.
Right.
Don't fuck with the Stanley Kubrick aesthetic.
Right.
That's ballsy.
Right.
Everyone's going to judge you for that.
Ultimately a failure, in my opinion. Yeah, because it's based off the book, but then he drastically changed the book to fit into the... Because the movie, The Shining, is nothing like the book, The Shining. And Stephen King famously hates the movie.
Right.
And this sequel tries so hard to be a sequel to that movie that they completely changed the book's horrible, by the way. I tried to read it. I got halfway through. I was like, fucking shining vampires and shit. Like, I'm done. This is horrible. Stephen King, ever since you got in the accident, buddy, haven't been quite as good. That's like 20 fucking years, pal. But I think his last good book, in my humble opinion, was Bag of Bones, and that was like 1999.
Okay.
But no offense, if you love Stephen King, man, you know, it's all subjective. But
yeah, no one's judging here.
No one's judging anyone. But goddamn, this movie, it tried so hard to be the aesthetic of The Shining, but then it was the guy who did Haunting of Hill House on Netflix, which I really enjoyed that series. So I was like, oh, maybe this will be interesting. But
it's in his ballpark.
It's in his ballpark, but they actually do flashbacks to The Shining. And
alternate angles and CGI, I'm guessing.
That's the thing. Well, just first I want to say the color between the original Shining footage, quote unquote, even though they reshot it, is all bright, bold Kubrick colors. And then it cuts to my least favorite thing in the world, fucking teal. All teal all the time for all the other footage. And it's so starkly...
Maybe that existential visual nightmare was they were trying to stimulate that within you. Like, look how bleak it's become.
Yeah, it's so bleak. There's vampires and they call it steam.
Remember when you used to enjoy a cinematic experience?
Remember that? But it is... What was the thing I was... Oh no, the CGI. Full spoilers. Jack Torrance and Little Danny Torrance and Wendy Torrance, they're all in the movie as flashbacks for Wendy.
And black.
No, but it's a woman playing Shelley Long, really.
Shelley Duvall.
Shelley Duvall, sorry. Not the girl from Cheers. Really awkwardly, like just doing Danny, and doing that Shelley.
Look alike, or did they?
They look pretty fucking similar. Okay. And then when he goes to the Overlook Hotel at the end, Danny goes to the Overlook with the basic plot is that this young girl's the shiniest shiner to ever shine. She's like the fucking solar eclipse of shining. Sorry,
I was just gonna say shine dog.
Shine dog, and
take old shine dog up to the Overlook. Yeah,
pretty much. And I don't know exactly what that means, so I'm just rolling ahead. But I'm gonna Google that later. I'm gonna feel real stupid. And I'm gonna cut this.
Clear your web history afterwards.
Afterwards?
Yeah.
Oh no. And then there's this group of shining vampires who basically, they call it's steam. When everyone dies, a little steam comes out of them.
Is it Robert Pattinson?
It's just some chick who wears a top hat. And
I saw this in the trailers. Okay, so when they die, they show this in the trailer. Okay, the steam they suck out, yes.
Yes,
okay.
So all the mystique is gone now because apparently ghosts are just things that suck your steam out, want to kill you to suck your steam out. So all the Overlook ghosts literally suck her steam out at the end to kill her because Danny has them all trapped in his mind prison like fucking Sherlock Holmes. Because after the hotel was abandoned after the murders, so all the ghosts started reaching out to Danny and his mentor there, the dude who gets the axe to the back, who is dead.
Scatman.
Scatman's dead, even though he's alive in the book because he lived in the book.
Right, I was reading. Yeah, okay. So he comes back in like a Force vision or something.
He's basically Obi-Wan. He comes back Force vision style. And
did they CGI Scatman Carruthers?
No, all new actors.
They recast them. Okay.
But that's the rub that I'll get to.
Oh no.
He tells him, like, you have the power with you're so strong in The Shining, you have the power to lock these guys in your head. So you can take their spirit essence and lock them in his head.
No.
Yeah, so all his life, so Danny has all these spirits locked in his head, and at the end of the movie they go back to the Overlook Hotel, which burnt down in the first book, so it's not in the second book, and it's the wonderful movie logic of, well, this hotel's dangerous for people like us, so maybe it's dangerous for people like them. One line of dialogue, and they're suddenly at the Overlook Hotel. And you're like, wait, what? Why are you here?
Okay.
You had to drive to fucking Colorado to get here.
And let me guess, they're blasting the theme the whole time.
And only during the opening credits. They do the bomb, bomb, bomb.
Really?
Bomb,
right in the front.
Right at the front. Because they do the old Warner logo.
Gotcha. Okay.
So then he gets there, he lures her in, and then releases all all the ghosts from the Overlook, who then go and suck out her steam and kill her, and that's basically the end. But then he dies too because he gets after they suck the steam out of her, all the ghosts turn on Danny and possess him, and then it's a whole him running around with the axe chasing the little girl, like the end of The Shining.
Geez, really?
Yeah. None of that happens in the book, by the way. Not to say the book's anything
Can you
special.
Imagine
but
Ewan McGregor being like, listen, I know I'm known for playing guys who don't want to do the role anymore.
Yeah.
But
or adult versions of classic characters.
Or who are dead.
Yeah.
Like, whichever one.
Yeah.
But this is a little fucking
a little fucking much. No, it was really stupid. But here's the thing. So he goes into the what was the champagne ballroom, whatever the ballroom was called. And if you recall, in the original Shining, Jack Torrance talks to Grady or whatever, Mr. Grady, who was the caretaker who killed his family back in the 50s or 60s. In this one, he talks to his dad. So Jack's taken the role of the bartender. And it's just this guy with his hair exactly the same, but he's got a big double chin, and he's got the eyebrows, and he's doing a Jack impression, just talking to him. And it was the first time where I was like, dude, a little deep fake would have been fine here. Just to do just the simplest stitching of Jack Nicholson's face onto his face would have been completely appropriate.
They CGI'd fucking Peter Cushing in a Rogue One. Yeah. Just a little bit of makeup. It's fine.
And that's the thing is Peter Cushing was a complete CGI creation. They had an actor on set with blue dots on his face. But I'm talking this deep fake technology is so much better.
It's done bananas,
because they just put a layer over the existing face. Have you seen Harrison Ford and George Lucas? It's like collaborative video. It's brilliant.
Because I love that one dude, Jamie Costa, who's been playing. He does the Han Solo impression.
Yeah.
He does Gandalf and everybody. But the guy who's doing Lucas, they sent him out to the premiere of Rise of Skywalker. Dude, it's the fucking funniest thing I've ever seen.
It's so good, and that's deep fake, and it's this. YouTube channel does a better recreation than fucking Disney did with Peter Cushing. It's brutal.
I saw one
that
I thought was pretty good. It's directed by Lena Waithe. Written by Lena Waithe. She was one of the writers on Aziz Ansari's TV show on Netflix.
Is she the one who gave him that awkward blowjob? And
no. that chick is not a director or black, as far as I know.
Also, I like that kind of worked out in Aziz Ansari's favor because I think if you willingly have a dick in your mouth, you're not really getting raped.
That one was just I remember it was kind of at the point where I'm like, you're just hurting the movement whenever you have a story like that. Like, I got assaulted. It's like, okay, you had a bad date.
Yeah.
It didn't, okay, like, it just...
That is, I know people say you had a bad date to people who absolutely don't deserve to hear those words, but that...
Yes. I think the general consensus at the end of the day was a lot of people were just like,
dude,
okay,
really?
Okay, you're kind of undermining a lot
the
of
whole
stuff
thing.
when you say that.
I remember years ago when all this started, I would always say, this is going to make an actual, victim think, well, they're calling themselves a victim, And this is objectively stupid, so maybe what happened to me is stupid. And I'm kind of glad that the rest of the world's catching up with that idea of no, women are just as evil as men.
Right.
And it's called equality.
I don't know. Yeah. Anyways, directed by Alina Wayne. Written by her and directed by Melina Matsoukas. Melina Matsoukas. So anyways, it's a story about a couple that goes on a Tinder date. Black couple. On their way home, they're pulled over by a cop. And also the cop gets kind of aggressive. And all of a sudden, sure enough, he pulls the gun on the
dude.
On the girl. What's kind of great
the girl.
They never are referenced by name. We don't know their names. They just kind of pick up the nickname Queen Slim as the movie goes on. Which is, I thought was a very, like, outlaw man with no name kind of thing.
Yeah, Bonnie and Clyde sort of thing. You know that was their names, but...
Very much so. So, anywho, they end up razzling with the cop. He takes a... Because the cop shoots her in the leg by accident. Or intentionally, because, you know, these days... cops, you know?
You know.
And he end up killing the cop. She's a lawyer, and she's like, okay, we gotta get the fuck out of here. So it's essentially just them on the run from then on. And they run into different people who help them out. My personal favorite... What the fuck's his name? He's the... Bokeem Woodbine. He was Shocker in Homecoming.
Okay, yeah.
He was and he was in Fargo. He was I can't remember his character's name in Fargo, but he's brilliant in season 2.
He was in something a while ago. I remember how he popped up on my radar like 10 years ago. I don't remember what the fuck it was.
He was fucking great. But basically the whole movie turns into like a Black Lives Matter kind of fucking you know, it's more of a statement.
Hey man,
movie.
all lives matter. What about that cop they killed?
Exactly.
Don't all lives matter?
Hey, wait a minute. Blue lives matter too, man. That cop was just doing his civic duty. It's a lot. Like, Jesus Christ. That's what I find so fascinating about the whole movement is that, like, you try to say, like, he's like, I've heard this rant a dozen times. He's about to get on his fucking soapbox and put on his fucking...
Oh, buddy. It's
put
okay.
his beret on. Listen, all I'm going to say is that, like, it's... Overall, the plot of the movie, the flow of it, wasn't... totally coherent. You can kind of feel it was her first directorial thing.
Right. Cutting her teeth.
Yeah, cutting her teeth. There's a couple moments like pacing wise where I'm like, this is not the time or place to be taking a break and like leaning out the window and feeling the breeze and riding horses and shit. You kind of like got to get to the
in editing maybe.
You got to get to the border, you know what I'm saying? Like, and that is kind of the premise of the movie. It's like, but you have to enjoy these things in life, otherwise.
Oh, okay.
But it's a little lost because it's such a bold statement about, you know, the police brutality that's been happening to African Americans. At the same time, it's trying to have like this, you know, live free kind of mentality at the end that overall you don't get to spend enough time with either.
Right.
So you're just kind of like, none of them really paid off at the end.
Right, just little touches of everything.
Yeah, and then halfway through you're like, okay, well now I kind of know they're gonna have to bang, and they're likely, spoilers, gonna die. Right. So like you're just kind of going through the motions. But the statement, the message that it's trying to convey, I thought was more important. I was just like, listen, this is a conversation that needs to happen.
Right.
And she's using her voice to fucking do that.
To get it. Oh.
And they're both great. The two leads, Daniel Kaluuya, and she's a new comer, Jodie Turner-Smith. It's her first flick, I think.
That's
fucking Mkabe from
yes.
Black Panther. He's Chris from... I just watched Get Out again the other day.
Yeah.
Oh, that boy.
He's so intimidating in Black Panther and so unintimidating in Us.
You know what I love?
He's such a ugly teddy bear. You
mean Get Out? You film racist. You think every movie by Jordan Peele's the same? Oh, he was in Us.
Wait, who are we talking about then? He's not the big teddy bear from Us?
No, you're thinking of now that's getting worse, man.
Who the fuck am I thinking of?
You're thinking of Winston Duke, sir.
So who did you say?
You're digging a hole.
Yeah, no.
Hey. They all look alike. Dance with me, sir.
You know, I would like it if you just danced a little. I'm really kind of...
Can I get you some more cornbread massa? All right, sorry. Winston Duke.
I love cornbread.
They're both in Black Panther. That's the irony.
So who's he in Black Panther then?
Take a brief segue to briefly talk about the time that you and fucking Dylan were arguing about that Jeff Bridges movie remake, and you went on and on for about 2 hours.
Yeah, you remember this and I don't, yeah.
Before you realized you both were not talking about the same movie.
Yeah.
You were arguing for Tron, I believe, and he was arguing about True Grit, or maybe vice versa. But either way, I sat there for 2 fucking hours while you guys argued back and forth. Yeah, but Jeff Bridges in the original had more charisma. Well, yeah, because back in the day, Jeff Bridges.
But we were talking about 2 different movies
the whole time. But it was crazy how like it lined up
perfectly.
Yeah, like with the scene where they stopped and drank the water. And I'm sitting there like, oh shit, there was a scene in Strong where they drank water. Like this is kind of crazy. And it took about 45 minutes. It's the same thing happening here. Where I'm like, he was in Black Panther. You're like, yeah, no, he was in Black Panther. He worked with Jordan Peele. Of course he was in that Jordan Peele movie.
I'm glad you've established that I'm like this with every fucking human being on the planet.
Yeah,
and not a horrible racist.
I'll back it up from racist to just an amazing series of coincidences.
But seriously though, I mean, all lives matter. Yeah, you say it, Davey.
You prick. Oh, you prick.
Okay.
Fucking cat. That's it. Anyone want a cat?
Who is he in Black Panther?
He is the one who's like, you would kill me too, my love. He's the one who turns on them and joins Kill.
Okay, because I was thinking the
Winston Duke. I totally forgot they were both in.
That's
Black
what
Panther.
I was thinking.
But in terms of like him flipping characters, I thought he had a really good range in that Black Mirror episode with the bikes. He was the main dude. He got that girl on the kind of talent show.
Oh yeah,
and she sang this song.
Yeah.
And that episode, he goes from like this love interest to like going fucking nuts to the point where he's like Howard Beale screaming on network TV at the end.
And he has to stare at the ads. They register if he looks away or blinks.
Yes!
All that shit. Yeah,
he was so good in that one.
And he was in something else recently too. He popped up somewhere. I'm probably gonna. It's probably some other guy I'm thinking of now. I'm just gonna dig the hole even deeper. But I thought I saw him pop up somewhere recently.
Widows, Christmas Carol.
Whoa!
You haven't seen either of those. Shut up.
Davey loves A Christmas Carol. No matter who made it,
he watches every version.
He's seen every version like a billion times. Even the Jim Carrey animated one. Maybe he didn't. Maybe it was like an old thing that was on TV
Babylon?
or something. I don't know.
He was a voice in Watership Down.
It's just those eyes are very memorable.
Yeah. I mean, after you've seen that shot in Get Out where like he's like tearing up. That was the fucking promo art, and it was haunting.
It's just that one tear going down his face. How did we get onto this tangent?
We were talking about he's in that movie Queen and Slim.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah, he's the lead in it, and again, like his range in it, he's fucking great. Like he can be vulnerable, but he can be like intimidating. I like everything about that dude. The 2 characteristics we demand of black actors: be kind of vulnerable like Will Smith, but intimidating like Denzel. That's all they want. That's all they want.
So
be like Wayne Brady.
Oh God! No one be like Wayne Brady.
Wayne Brady meets Dolomite, and we're just like, oh God.
Wayne Brady, I'm pretty sure, is just a white dude in blackface.
Hmm? How dare you? Why? That's all you want. Just be on.
You want to be on the podcast, bud?
David, what was your favorite movie of 2019? If you say Cats, I will give you away.
He's gonna say Cats.
He was gonna say Cats.
Wow. He was like, I'm not gonna say Cats now.
He's like, listen, Rum Tum Tugger's performance is underrated.
Oh my God. And Rum Tum Tugger sounds like something you do to yourself.
You know what? I bet you there's a reason why they call that cat Rum Tum Tugger. I bet he grinds on the carpet a lot.
Listen, it's getting late. I don't want to be rude, but I really got a Rum Tum Tugger before I fall asleep, so can you get the fuck out?
Why does your cat walk in the room when you say that? What the fuck is about to happen here?
Aww. My dog's mouth smells like peanut butter all the time.
So yeah, good movie. The message is what was important. You people, the message.
Good. Do we have any other little random 2019 things? We were already at 40 minutes, so do we have any other random little 2019 things?
Nah.
All right, so we were going to quickly recap 2019, but then talk about something else from 2019, which was written. Well, actually, I don't know when it was written, and it kind of leaked in 2020. Doesn't matter. The point is, we're talking about Jurassic World director Colin Trevorrow's leaked episode 9 script, Duel of the Fates,
which came out recently.
Are you just talking about the story beats? Because I think I know them.
Do it.
So, Colin Trevorrow's story was that it opened with first of all, it was called Duel of Fates, and it opened with the fact that the First Order had cut off communications between all planets. in the galaxy. And so one of the thrusting narratives was that they had to steal a Star Destroyer to assault Coruscant, where General Hux was the head of, like, the Chancellor of Coruscant. He placed himself there in order to break down the signal so that they could transmit their message to their fellow rebels across the galaxy. That was one plot line.
Okay.
The other plot line was that Sidious had left Sidious, a.k.a. Emperor Palpatine.
Wait, so he was still in it?
Sheev, no. He left a message on the second Death Star to Vader in the case of his death to seek out his master, who apparently was not Darth Plagueis the Wise.
Right.
It was some Lovecraftian monster that Kylo Ren went and had to encounter.
How the fuck do you get trained by a Lovecraftian monster?
I don't know. But he was apparently hardened the dark side. He was thousands of years old. And it's funny because all this stuff is being confirmed because in the art of The Rise of Skywalker, all the paintings are in there because they just need to fill pages.
Right.
Disney's recalled the book.
Oh, shit.
To take all those images out. So if you have a copy of The Art of the Rise of Skywalker, hang on to that thing.
Yeah, man. That's like the Revenge of the Sith poster of this generation.
Yeah, Revenge of the Jedi.
Revenge of the Jedi, yeah.
So hang on to that shit. Rey was still nobody, but it turned out that Kylo Ren was ordered to kill her parents. But that didn't make any sense unless it was featured more in the script as to why, if the Emperor had a vision of this girl coming and doing something. What are the other bullet points from it? From all, because I've all the Mr. Sunday movies and all those guys have all covered it. Chewie was going to fly an X-wing. It was going to end on that. A lot of the planets and locations were from the Clone Wars, so I guess they were really trying to bring it all.
Gotcha.
Bring it all home. All the Jedi. Luke was going to be in Kylo Ren's head for the whole movie. Excuse me.
That one concept art picture of him catching the lightsaber with his bare hand.
With catching the blade. Because he said in The Last Jedi, he was like, I always will be with you.
Yeah, so he's haunted him all the time.
Haunting him and tormenting him, trying to turn him back to the light side. I think the ending...
I'm just imagining him doing it in his Joker voice.
Yeah. that hair's breadth beat away from madness. Beateth? Hair's breath?
Has breath.
Hair's beateth? I don't know. What the fuck else was there? There was more... Now I know why you so frustratedly wanted to look up these plot points.
You know what
I'm
I'm
saying? I know it ended with a giant battle and Chewie flew an X-Wing.
Southern Mass Sith Holocron.
That was the one that Sheev left him.
Yeah, so that's what the message comes from.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I'm telling you, there's you can just feel in that final cut, it's just a blender of two movies.
Oh yeah.
Especially when I got to the scene where fucking Sheev's electrocuting the fleet out of the air and shit. I'm like, so this was supposed to be the Snoke scene, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then you pulled that trigger too early. And same thing with the kid with the broom. Whenever Finn's saying, "Oh, Rey, I have something to tell you," he was supposed to say he was force sensitive.
Force sensitive.
Because throughout the movie, there are several points where inexplicably
he
just knows shit. The whole thing with Janna and all them, the other stormtrooper chick who's rebelled.
Officially Lando's daughter.
Is she officially Lando's daughter? Is that what it was? Mm-hmm. Wow, that galaxy's tiny.
Tiny. Well, it's an interesting point that I kind of wish they played through, because apparently the idea was that they centered out the rebels who blew up the second Death Star and specifically stole their children as a form of revenge.
I like that. See, one line!
Right?
One fucking line!
Yeah.
Anyways, they were all... The reason that group of stormtroopers were starting to reject the programming was because everyone was becoming force sensitive.
Oh.
Yeah, that's why the stormtroopers were all rebelling. I'm like, oh, so kid with the broom. Ryan Johnson liked that part. And
why did everybody become force sensitive?
Maybe that's just it. The awakening was a bunch of people.
Oh, so because, Vader brought balance to the Force by destroying the Force, essentially, and leaving just one dark side user and himself left.
And I would imagine...
So all those midi-chlorians had to go somewhere?
This had to go somewhere. If we're going by, we gotta keep the prequels in fucking in canon.
Well, apparently not. His master is now, he no longer killed... I guess he never directly said he killed him in his sleep. He was telling the story of Darth Plagueis. Wise. So maybe it was just a story, but the way he played it, that means that he didn't create Anakin then. You know what I mean? In the same soliloquy he's doing, he talks about Darth Plagueis the Wise was killed, and then he created this, and he looks over.
Conception, yeah.
Right. So if he's making up half of that, then you kind of have to assume he's making up all of it if you're going to change his master.
Why can't he still be impregnating Shmi Skywalker with Force Cam?
Because his master Oh no, because the tragic tale of Darth Plagueis the Wise talks about how he tried to recreate life with...
Yeah, but remember he pulls that bitch move where he's just like, he kills Sam Jackson and he goes like, oh, I don't know it, but together we can figure it out.
For extending life.
Yeah, so I don't think he ever knew it.
So it could have been retconned, because it clearly was intended that he was talking about him and his master in that scene.
Yeah,
but it could have, I guess,
his master taught him everything, and he killed him in his sleep. But no, I think that was kind of just him being like, "Yeah, I don't know that one."
Yeah,
but we can figure it out because you're really strong with the Force, I guess.
But he did make Anakin, though.
Why wouldn't you make Anakin?
So he can do that. He can manipulate the midichlorians to create life.
Yeah,
but can't heal someone.
No, that's ridiculous.
Even though Rey can heal snakes.
Because she's crazy strong with the Force.
She is crazy. So can
her and Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
Kylo Ren can stop a bullet in midair, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he's like Neo.
Yeah, he is Neo.
He is Neo.
He came along to them.
I do know in the Trevorrow script he did not get redeemed at the end, which seems odd since the entire thesis of Star Wars is redemption.
Yeah, I was thinking about that the other day, because I'm like, the first one's kind of like a Shakespearean tragedy of like what happens whenever this guy gets compromised by his worst fears and ambitions and shit. Mm-hmm. And the second one's a redemption arc. And I remember saying before this trilogy kind of went the way it did, I thought it was going to be, this one's about reconciliation. Mm-hmm. You know, fucking tragedy, redemption, and then how do we deal with what the fuck happened? Because in that first movie... Yeah, like in Force Awakens, everybody's running away from the past and we're living off the remains of yesterday. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, everyone's scared to do the next move. Which I thought was kind of a cool choice. I'm like, oh, this is literally a springboard for every single one of these characters. As you said, man, there's no arc in that trilogy. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not about anything. And I'm just like, I don't really... Yeah, I thought it would have been about reconciliation, but no, it's just a funeral dirge that ends with her being like, I guess I'm a Jedi, a new type of Jedi. I guess. I'm just going to start this over again, question mark? Buy the books and video games to figure out where it goes. Yeah.
Also tell me who Master Sifo Dyas was while you're at it. Yeah. The prequels fucked it up entirely because I mean, everyone knows this. I'm preaching to the converted choir here, but... after the prequels...
I know what you're talking about. That scene in Phantom Menace.
The pod race.
Gets his hand stuck in that fucking pod racing engine.
Oh, yeah,
It's the most knee-slapping comedy I've seen.
That's one of two shots that are actually his
actual hand.
His actual arm.
I thought you were going to say that was one long take. I was going to go back and watch the Phantom Menace and be like, bullshit.
It's all uncut.
Oh, my God.
It's 1917.
More fantastic than I remember.
Or 1916, 1914, whatever. One long take movie.
Oh, yeah, 1917.
17. Because no one wanted cityscapes and bullshit. So J.J. Abrams, like, people did essays and, like, Red Letter Media, literally Simon Pegg showed J.J. Abrams, Mr. Plinkett's breakdown of the prequel trilogy movies. Like, he talks about that. So, no, but a sequel trilogy absolutely needed to go to Coruscant at one point and say, this is what the Galactic Republic's up to now. This is what they fixed up. You kind of need that to inform the story.
Totally.
But they didn't want to dare recreate the prequels.
And so you get stuck going to, like, desert planets, old temples, and, like, swamp planets that are on islands and shit. And it's like,
The original trilogy was about the outlaws, so it makes sense that they're outside the law.
Exactly.
The other two trilogies are kind of about the society.
It's literally the plot of the entire second movie. It's like, we're on the run from the law the entire time. We have to stay in, like, tents and shitty ice shelters. Like, it sucks being a rebel. Yeah. But, like, that's why I never got about this one. The second, I think Williams got it, man. He wrote a march for the fucking good guys in this one, being like, this should be the unifying movie where we're all the resistance and we're fucking banding together because we're finally taking back control of the galaxy for the light side of the Force and all that shit. Mm-hmm. But there's just zero follow-through on any of it, so it doesn't, like... People were so frustrated with episode 9, but I'm like, it was in the cards, man. There's not much overarching themes in that entire trilogy whatsoever.
It's like you went in and got a Big Mac and then a McChicken and they were pissed about the fillet of fish.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what are you fucking expecting here?
Exactly. Like, don't get me wrong, I think Daisy really crushes it in all three movies in terms of, like, being, I have to emote the shit out of this ridiculous-ass character. But, like...
How do I say this without becoming a misogynistic asshole, but... She's kind of chunky in part 2.
Maybe no.
Do you notice she's a drinker's
thicker?
puff?
Oh, maybe. Well, dude, if you got kicked off of Instagram, you'd be chugging too. Yeah. You had to quit because people were calling you a fat cunt all the time. You're like, fat.
Was that what happened to Daisy Ridley?
Oh, yeah. She was the first one before Kelly Marie Tran that had to quit Instagram.
Like, honestly, I don't give a shit about body images, and I look like a fucking beast.
Right.
So, I'm not, like, no one should be shamed for their shit. But, do my eyes deceive me that she's a little puffier in part 2? And then she's lost a bunch of weight again for part 3.
It's been a while since I've seen Last Jedi.
Last Jedi.
I don't really
She's a little puffier.
Maybe she's. I remember when she was training and that she was doing some lightsaber moves and her arms were fucking ripped. Like,
so you think she was just proteining it up in order to build muscle? So I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
No, but like, in the sense that like they knew that like this is going to be your Empire Strikes Back, which means half this movie you're going to be fucking training and shit. So you go
fighting horribly, just swinging and missing and
screaming at the camera. Listen, I think she crushed it in terms of being like, imagine Keira Knightley doing that role.
Oh, she did the best with what she could do.
Exactly. She was like the Ewan McGregor of that fucking trilogy. But like, she's what's her arc, man? She's just good. How do you describe her? She's good.
Yeah, she's just plain toast.
As a person, she's good. How does she fly? Good.
Yeah.
Has she?
Great. She's great at everything.
What about McKay? Oh, she's good.
Yeah.
Like this is like unanimously. She never has to try or struggle or is tempted by fate or anything.
I feel that's like such a corporate ideology of we have to be so careful not to offend anyone.
Exactly.
Which is exactly what ruined Rise of Skywalker. Is they had to not like offend in terms of like social justice warrior type offense, but Star Wars fans like we can't offend anybody. We can't have anyone get upset, so we need to make this as bland as possible. Pound this McChicken down their fucking throats, and then remind them the Mandalorian's airing on our streaming service.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, and also we just don't want to get flamed to death if we fucking do anything with her character, like have her tempted by the dark side, or try to, like give her any sort of emotional depth whatsoever. It's like, well, that's not correct. That's not how she would have done it. It's like, well, how the fuck do you know? She's a fictional character.
Wait, I gotta.
It's not about you, the goddamn movie.
I sent this text, and I hope this isn't becoming some sort of like two dudes bashing anyone. I hope. But I sent this tweet to a friend of mine because he gets particularly outraged about these things, and I thought it was so funny. But I wish I had it in front of me. It would take me forever to find. But it's basically like 3 tweets from some girl who has a couple thousand followers. So she's somebody. I don't know if she's like a comic book writer or what she is. But it's just like, how dare like a man's world tell Rey that her feminine anger is inappropriate and she shouldn't be using this aggression to take down her enemies. And what's the man who's been mentally abusing her for 2 movies, he kisses her at the end? What's with that? And we're just like, have you seen Star Wars? Do you know the whole thing about being tempted by the dark side? Right. Now rage takes you to a bad place. Right. This justified female anger. I was like, well, fuck off.
You don't understand. Because of her gender, it allows her just to freak out every now and then.
You can forget and not go to the dark side.
Yeah, it's fine. What, are you saying she can't do that? But as a man that's misogynistic, you limiting what she can and can't do. It's a catch-22.
No, you can't.
I can't argue with this.
No, it's adorable. The world is so fucking stupid.
That's how I felt being in the theater when I saw Captain Marvel. I think I told you that. Like, I was me in a theater with a bunch of moms and their kids. Yeah. And I'm watching a movie just be like, oh no, don't listen to authority. If you feel something, just believe it's true as hard as you can. And I'm like, whoa. Yeah. That's, I think, what Ted Kaczynski did, man. Like, that's,
I know.
That's not a good thing to teach people.
That's like that. In my perspective on that is, it's a walking on eggshells thing where it's like, if you are a subjugated gender, so you've been told what to do your whole fucking life. I think part of breaking away from that is like, I'm not going to listen to anyone anymore.
Sure.
But not listening to anyone is super fucking dangerous. So that is something you have to really walk a fine line. Like, I'm not going to listen to some people, but it's important to listen to some others. But that's all getting thrown out for like big, grandiose, sweeping concepts of like, no one tells you what to do anymore.
Isn't that a little us and them?
Yeah, no, it super is.
And like, that's how I have a similar thing, but I look at it from the perspective of like, from race, man. You had Martin Luther King and fucking Malcolm X, the whole fucking Xavier Magneto approach. We can either fucking have a world where we all learn to tolerate each other, or we can fucking subjugate each other with the same fucking pains that we've been subjugated onto us. And it's just like, it's the same.
That seems to be the order of the day, what you just said just there.
Yeah. And then the thing is that no one wants to tell you like the fucking like all it's equal approach. It's either easier to have a clear-cut enemy and just be pissed off.
Right.
And be like, nah, you know what? If I'm being a feminist means treating guys like 1950s douchebags.
Treated women, yeah.
Yeah, and just being assholes. And it's like, okay, good luck selling that concept to anyone who's not your gender. Like,
and it's also an argument that ultimately is destined to fail. Like
it's a big backhanded pat on your own back, isn't it? To be like, no, it must be the right thing because I'm in that demographic. So therefore, good for me for knowing and being who I am.
Right. It's have you ever watched because I brought this up on a previous podcast, but that Dear White People?
No.
The whole concept is that black people can't be racist.
Right.
Because you have to be if you're in a system that your race isn't in control of, you can't be racist towards those who are in control.
Sure.
And that doesn't make any fucking sense to me because it means racism is geographic.
Right.
So you fly to a country. So if I fly to China, I can fucking let loose with like the worst racial epitaphs possible.
Because you're the minority then.
In China. Right. I mean, technically, globally speaking, there's 3 billion Chinese people, so there's 500 million white people.
We pretty much have like carte blanche in any given moment of the day to just be as racist as we want. By the
to Chinese.
To Chinese people specifically.
If you're a globalist.
Oh God, no, not to other people. Don't be a monster.
No. You have to announce yourself as a globalist, and then you have to say, well, these guys are the majority. Right. So it's a self-defeating argument that boggles my fucking mind.
Yeah, and I'm like, good luck. It's fighting fire with fire.
Right. Everything's just burning.
It doesn't make
literally.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Just like episode 9. But you know what?
We were going to go into this whole thing with the original script, and then we had a technical issue where we couldn't find the fucking points for the script, and we kind of had to wing it. Everyone, we will talk about this again. Don't you worry. It's not like we can throw a stone without hitting a Star Wars podcast around here. So don't worry. We'll be back with a more detailed breakdown, especially when it comes out on video and we all get a chance to watch it again. The Rise of Skyhumper.
Remember that planet testicle they go to?
Exxon Testicle Mobile? Jesus. 2019 was an interesting year. Mm-hmm. I think ultimately it can go fuck itself.
I enjoyed it for the most part. I really did.
2020 is off to a bad start for you. I haven't really had... I mean, I guess it's off to a bad start for me too, but though that's a podcast for another day.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm cautiously approaching this one.
2020.
Yeah, it's like a fucking tiger in a cage that someone's poked a couple times, and they're like, "Yo, can you hold this stick?" And they go to the bathroom, and that thing's looking at me mighty angry. Yeah, that's how I'm approaching this year. I'm like, all right, fine.
Yeah,
this is not my first rodeo. Let's do this.
This could all fall apart pretty quickly.
What a positive note. Let's go out on that.
Yeah. Hey, remember,
we'll see you next week.
Maybe. Probably take another 2 weeks off. It's this weather does not make it fucking easy for podcasting when we live an hour and a half away from each other. But the summertime, usually we can crank them out a lot more regularly.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I'm just seeing that you have the ticket to the Fan Expo that Space Action Heroes was up on your, and it was the next Generation crew.
That's correct.
Oh shit! I need to talk about the first episode of Picard before we go.
All about Picard, and then we're out.
I'm
glad we fucking stayed on for this. Riveting the hot take Space Action podcast.
It's the guys who made Discovery. So it's ultimately the same kind of like it seems like they're inching closer towards what Star Trek's supposed to be about. But it's an inch. Like, they're still talking about resources of the Federation, and there's this xenophobia racism against Romulans going on.
Oh, okay.
And it's stuff that, like... The whole idea is that the utopian society isn't that we're brainwashed, we've just learned to control our impulses more. So we don't throw feces at each other like we used to. You know? We've learned impulse control. We still have the capacity to pick up our shit and throw it. Star Trek's always been about the next stage of impulse control. When we've moved beyond the more animalistic parts of ourselves. We've moved beyond starvation, culture wars, everything else.
We unify as a human race.
We unify as a human race, and if you want to tell those stories, you do it through the aliens. Mm-hmm. Because humans need to be unified. That's the fucking point. It makes... Star Trek was always meant, specifically the Next Generation, my generation of Star Trek, was always meant for two types of people. One, people who needed to know all of this was worthwhile because where we're going makes it worthwhile.
Sure, okay.
Any pain or suffering you have in your life, it's worthwhile. Yeah. And also a familiarity of the characters because it's not a dog-eat-dog world. It's not people who are going to fuck each other over to get the last, piece of food. These are all family. They all respect each other. They can disagree, but they respect each other. They have civil disagreements with each other.
You can't judge a culture by its past.
Yeah. They move forward with things, They represented, like, they had a Klingon on board who were the Russians during the Cold War to the original series, and to have him on board the ship, and no one gave him shit about it. No one was like, fuck you, you're a Klingon. They just accepted him, and it was a familiarity for people, I think, that came from, like, broken homes.
Sure.
Or from a bad upbringing to be like...
Or even, like, I'm imagining in the Western world, like, where people are kind of all moving in, like, this influx of people.
Right.
Where it's just like, oh, this is, like, a total story about my fucking dad who now lives with us, who's from Poland, you know?
Right.
Like, shit like that.
And it's meant to create... It's two things, to show a better tomorrow and to create an atmosphere of comfort and support. Like, the opposite of something like Gordon Ramsay or America's Got Talent. No, seriously, like, where they're like, you come out and you sing, we're going to yell all the worst things, and you have to get over that.
That's a good point.
It's the opposite of that. It's positive reinforcement. It's all the shit that everyone calls, like, coddling and hippie culture bullshit now. Mm-hmm. But that was what made it great, especially for kids who maybe didn't have that in their life.
And Jonathan Frakes' crotch.
And Jonathan Frakes' fucking leg thrown around every chair he could get.
God damn it.
This new series, it embraces that and ignores it all at the same time, and it's only one episode is aired, so this could go off the rails, because Discovery is a giant stinking pile of fucking shit when it comes to actually exploring Trek for what it's supposed to be. This Picard show, I hope they course correct a little, because I don't know, it's sort of like they've peppered in the ideals of Star Trek, what it's supposed to mean, mixed with like a CW show, like Arrow or Supergirl or something. It's really fucking weird. So I'm so baffled by it. Or I'm like, I gotta see where this is going to really judge it. But maybe they're going in the right direction. I don't know. We'll see. But I do suggest checking it out. Patrick Stewart is phenomenal as Picard. Every scene he's in, you're just mesmerized.
I'm just imagining that dude in the trailer before every take being like, this is your fucking character.
Right?
This was your defining Western world moment, man.
Right. And unlike, like, he didn't...
And he was in... I just rewatched Logan, so he got to watch his buddy fucking Hugh Jackman do that right in front of his eyes. So he's like, oh, I'm gonna Logan this up.
And I gotta say, like, unlike Logan, who presented an absolutely broken Xavier, which is completely appropriate for the material, especially mutants and what they deal with, Picard's not that bad. It basically, the story is that a decade or so earlier... the events of Star Trek, the Zachary Quinto, J.J. Abrams Star Trek.
Okay.
Remember how
the Kelvin's Trek.
Romulus blew up,
yes.
But then that shot him into the Kelvin timeline, and then he blew up Vulcan.
Yes.
So we're back in the Prime timeline. Romulus did blow up, and Picard, while trying to lead an evacuation of all the citizens of all life forms, which is fucked up because at one point he's being interviewed, and she says Romulan lives. He goes, no lives. It's like no one in the Federation would be making a distinction at this point. That's the whole point. So little things like that are annoying. But the Federation pulled out because there was an attack on their Utopia Planitia fleet yards, is where Star Trek makes all their ships.
Right.
That's where they were making the fleet to go save the Romulans. The synthetics, the descendants of Data, essentially, revolted and blew up the planet. And then Starfleet said...
Why would they revolt?
We haven't learned that yet.
Oh.
And Starfleet basically said, go fuck yourself to Romulans. We have our own thing to worry about. We're not going to help you anymore. And that decision, Picard thought was so cowardly that he resigned from Starfleet.
Gotcha.
And has basically been living on his vineyard in just dwelling in the past.
It's also a good motive for that guy. It goes against all of his morals, and he's just like, yeah, I can't fucking wear the badge of this fucking organization anymore.
Yeah, and it also makes sense from the little time, like, because Next Generation always presented Starfleet and the Federation as being, like, this wonderful utopia, but every once in a while a sliver would get in there. And like
any organization.
Like any organization, and we had to get it out quick before it got infected.
Right.
And so this feels like this backstory of the Federation just being like, fuck you, we're not helping you. It's just one of those slivers. It doesn't feel like this corrupt, political, horrible government that's more in tune to our modern day or anything.
You thinking the likelihood they're going to have to come back and it's like, we need you for one last job, Picard?
I don't know.
I think it's going that way.
I don't know. It's hard to tell exactly where it's going because right now it seems like it's about two twin girls who have Data's positronic brain in them.
Okay.
One of them dies, and the other one is like he's going out to find.
Okay.
Because it's like Data's daughter.
They should just call it this. So fuck Picard. Data's daughter. That's the fucking series
Data's
name.
daughter.
Data's daughter. That's catchy as fuck.
Yeah, but all the scenes with her atrocious. That's when it starts feeling like the WB, CW, Arrow, Flash.
We gotta open some like wholesome storyline.
No, not even. Like it's introduced. Like I don't know. You have to watch it because it's just the way it's shot is very Riverdale almost, like teen drama.
Interesting. Weird.
The shit with her because it starts off with her alien boyfriend. And it's so clear, like this little human girl and this big alien boyfriend. It's clearly a fucking commentary on something. And then he gets
and
killed
then all of a sudden
right away.
they put a knee in the back of the alien boyfriend's back. It's a fucking Federation agent. He's like, put your hands on your head. Stop resisting, sir. Stop resisting.
They do kill him right away. And the reason that I'm saying that
I was right.
Yeah. They literally make the joke where Trevorrow was like, this is interesting. They got a black guy playing an alien and then like a kind of maybe half Chinese white girl. This seems like the way they're playing this is like your eyes, the way they do that, your culture is so different from mine. I was like, this seems a little on the nose, but maybe I'm looking into it. Until he went to the replicator and was like, well, girl, your replicator skills are horrible. Everything's vanilla.
Really?
Oh, you. I wasn't reading into that. You're doing a thing here.
That's funny. And so, watching like a little on the note, because I really love the way like the Klingons were subverted Russians. You know, it's just like we the fucking thing going, but now we're kind of cool.
Yeah.
But that's like so goddamn on the nose.
Really...
So much so that they were like, "Who are we gonna get to play the alien?" They're like, black guy,
big black dude.
Just make him actually black."
Yeah, and his eyes blink sideways, and she's like, "I love the way your eyes do that. It's so different."
And she's half Asian.
I think so. It's hard to tell.
I'm just saying, half Filipino, half black. I'm double offended by this fucking man.
And I want to go out on the note that just if I ever make sci-fi set in the future, or if anyone else does, hire only mixed-raced actors.
Hell yeah.
It's not going to make sense to have like a white dude and a black dude and a Chinese dude in a movie set 500 years from now because we're all going to be
That's a good
mixed.
point, man. Yeah. Just cast people that look like, Zoe Kravitz, Jessica Alba, The Rock.
Right, yeah.
Meaning a lot.
Yeah.
Just throw them all together.
Just the pepperings of all race to create a human being needs to be the cast of sci-fi.
A couple
right?
princes. Throw some princes in there.
Yeah. I think that's the way to go. But I just ranted about Picard for way too fucking long, and I'm sorry.
That's great. No, I mean, we got some Trek fans, I'm sure.
Yeah, Matt Morrissey again. Hello.
Hello, Matt.
Shout out to Matt Morrissey and Rob. I think he likes Star Trek. If he even listens anymore, I don't know.
I don't know. Who knows? Anyways.
All right, extras, man. I'm running out of steam.
That's it for this week, guys. We'll tune in sometime soon.
Week or two, maybe.
With another show. Wait, have you seen Watchmen? You watched The Watchmen?
I have not watched The Watch.
You gotta watch Watchmen. You gotta watch Atlanta. That is your homework.
I gotta binge. I just don't know. I just have no time these days.
I started watching Atlanta again, man. When your dog's got you up all hours, you're gonna stay up with your dog and just do fucking cocaine and watch television.
That's the problem is
for our amusement, Carson.
It's hard because I get like maybe one night every week or two off from him. That's when I get to watch a movie or something. That's how I got to see Knives Out and JoJo.
You can do a show, a series, can't you, over a couple nights? It's
just tough with him because it's hard to sit and get into something when you have to be up every 2 or 3 minutes.
Just like put him in a headlock and make him pass.
Just give him the old choker. Yeah.
And they do that with dogs. Give him some liquor.
I'm going to try it.
It's
fine. It's fine.
It's fine. I do with Davey all the time.
Oh God.
He's drunk right now. He's been drunk since now, motherfucker.
Oh God. If the SPCA is listening, we're so fucked.
Oh, they can do a blood test. It's fine. He's fine.
He's fine.
He's fine.
SpaceXnews.com.